Thank you, Chair. And just in relation to that meeting, Mr. Kelly, was the topic Grant Thornton brought up?
No, thank you. The topic was issues around, I suppose, well, really, the Late Late Show timings when it started. During COVID, the Late Late Show finished at 11 o'clock.
Well,
so the issues were around...
And I don't mean to cut you off, but you're just categorically stating that there wasn't a discussion.
Sorry. Yeah, no, it was very much about issues around the Late Late Show and trying to finish it earlier, etc.
Okay, thank you. But it does seem a bit odd that you'd have been having that discussion given Mr. Tubridy's resignation, or was it just for the remaining shows?
No, it was before. It was before, and it wasn't related to it.
Okay.
Maybe do you want to talk about?
Yeah, well, no. Were you at that meeting?
Yes, I was. Yeah.
Okay. But it had nothing to do, as you're categorically saying, there was no discussion.
Deputy Murphy, like I said at the statement at the outset, it was one of the untruths I really wanted to clear up here today. And there was no connection between this fiasco and my departure from the Late Late Show. I promise you.
So you'll have watched all of the previous engagements. So is it your view, Mr. Tubridy? And it's hard, like, I don't know, like, look, for a start, I'd like to say you're welcome here.
Thank you for that.
And it's nice that you came without having to be compelled.
Thank you.
But I think it's not that anybody knows how to address you, because everybody feels they know you.
I know, I prefer if you call me Ryan, but I understand that's not the nature of it.
When you call me deputy,
Okay.
but even all that aside, it's superfluous. But the reality is this: you will have seen Mr. Adrian Lynch, who was the interim Director General, say that it was possible that you did know pre your announcement.
Yes, that's very unfortunate.
And do you feel, is it your view then, that Mr. Lynch threw you under the bus with that connotation?
Mr. Lynch is entitled to his conjecture, but in this case it's incorrect.
Okay. Well, let me move to your statement, because you have outlined 7 untruths. And to be fair, you've come here to give your side of the story, and we as deputies need to hear both sides and find the truth in between. But I think you have outlined in your statement 7 untruths. And what I'd just like to ask you, is it your view, and maybe this is for Mr. Kelly also, but is it your view that those untruths were intended to deceive not just the public, but the Public Accounts Committee into thinking that you two gentlemen were responsible for everything that has happened here?
I think being frank with you, we watched some of the proceedings quite aghast.
But is it your view that those untruths were intended to deceive?
I would hope that in a more positive moment that wasn't the case, that this is a misunderstanding rather than an intent to deceive. I would hope, but maybe Noel has something better to say about that.
I may not be as kind as Ryan. And I think there were a lot of misunderstandings. I think, as Ryan said at the outset, if everybody had just, at the start, and when we had to ask, can we get the statement, everybody just had sat down and said, what is this? Yeah. It's all there, it would have been explained. The 120,000, there wasn't 120,000, and on and on and on.
Well, just in your case, Mr. Kelly, at some point Mr. Collins was being asked in relation to why he did not ask questions with regard to the invoices being raised with consultancy fees as the description. He said that because, and I don't want to misquote, but the intimation was that yourself and Dee Forbes had he was aware that you had a particularly close relationship.
Yes.
Now, that's not what you said earlier.
No, as I said, I've never even had a cup of tea with her. Like, literally,
So
I've only ever met her with her lawyers and her accountants, and you only ever meet the DG, and as the previous DG, when there's something that...
In your view, why would either Mr. Collins be of that opinion, or why would he express it in that regard?
I have no idea whatsoever.
And but in your view then, do you believe that he intended to deceive this committee?
I honestly can't say. I don't know. And to be honest with you, like, there was so many untruths, I just had to stop looking and listening. You know, we were under siege, like, unreal.
Well, I think clearly from the notes we've received, and I know we received them late this morning, they're quite comprehensive.
Yes.
In discarding what you believe to be untruths. Like your definition, my definition of an untruth is a lie. It's a lie. If it's
Sure.
not true, it's
Sure.
a lie.
Sure.
So are you able to say in your view that RTE lied to this committee and those representing them?
As you said, they were untruths.
Well, I think
Be
that.
careful with language.
Well, I think
But
I don't
just-
need to be careful, Chair, because the definition of an untruth is.
Do you wish to answer that, Mr. Kelly, please, Mr. Tubridy?
I think there's been a lot of lies. Intentional or not, I don't know.
Sorry, can you just repeat that again?
I think there've been a lot of lies, and that's why we're here. Intentional or not, I don't know. Like again, I don't know half of these people. I've barely met them.
Would it be fair to say that, given that we've outlined our side of the story today, I would love the people to decide what the definition of a truth or mistruth or a lie is, in the sense that I would hope that they get some clarity today.
Well, on that, Mr. Tubridy, has there been pre-litigation letters issued on your behalf, both of your behalves,
Not
at
that
this
I'm aware of.
point?
No, I don't
Not
think
at
so,
this
no.
point.
That's
That's
is
for
the answer.
clarity. Yes, thank you.
No, thank you.
No.
And I just want to clarify a number of things. You named Trish Whelan, Mr. Kelly.
Yeah.
Did Trish Whelan work for your office?
No,
Or
Trish Whelan works is RTE legal.
RTE Legal? And Katrina Fallon?
She's in the legal department as well.
Both RTE Legal?
On RTE, yeah.
Okay. And I want to go back because I've been trying to put myself in Dee Forbes' shoes
Sure.
for the past couple of
Sure.
weeks. I just want you to give me an outline pre the 19th of December. Is there any contemporaneous note of what gave rise to that email or that meeting that took place beforehand? We start, if I'm not mistaken, on the 19th of December with your documents.
Oh, sorry.
And it's proposed terms for new contract, and that's on the 19th of December. But I'm just looking from that perspective where the starting point was that gave rise to the commercial relationship, the 75,000 commercial relationship.
Sorry, I was just looking for the. So what's the exact question?
So the
Sorry.
question is, if I was Dee
Yeah.
Forbes,
Yeah.
I'm trying in my head to figure out what it was that you put to Dee Forbes that you say RTE came up with the plan, the
Sure.
scheme to give 75,000.
Yeah.
Like, what gave rise to it?
So, the sponsor, RTE's probably biggest sponsor, and RTE wanted these events. So they came with the idea of the events, where they'd happen, when they'd happen, mini late roadshow, Ryan Tubridy Renault associations.
Okay, so RTE
completely separate, to the contract,
Okay.
to Ryan's radio and TV contract. And the first 3 were done in year 3 because of COVID, and then obviously there's contractually there's still another 6 out.
So was it the position that had that 75,000 not been on the table that Mr. Tubridy would have walked from his contract?
Not at all. No. Ryan has other contracts, as said, with BBC, he'd cover for different people on BBC, and he'd have his book contracts.
So there was
and-
no pressure put on Ms. Forbes in which there was another,
Not at
you know,
all.
you didn't say, Mr. Tubridy's been offered a job in
no.
BBC, and if we
no,
don't do
not at all.
A, B or C.
And actually, quite the opposite. It was at those meetings, Ryan took €105,000 pay cut per annum. So that was the 525,000. So if we were looking, if that was the pressure point, you wouldn't have reduced,
And we've heard that, so I'm just trying to ascertain why Ms. Forbes would give away, effectively, €75,000, which really was RTE's public revenue, or would have been...
But you see it actually, so if I can just explain. So when the invoices were made at ASIS, they were directly emailed to RTE, and that's what was necessary to process them at ASIS.
Well, they're much further on. I'm trying to ascertain
but
why she would have entered.
Sorry, so the first invoice was Renault, but why she would. why she would enter into an agreement?
Well, if there was, why she, first of all, gave a guarantee and what was at the back
Just briefly,
of.
because we're going over time, just
Yeah,
if you answer the question.
I mean, essentially that was in case the sponsor, again, the sponsor relationship is with RT8, not with us. And for me, what that was about was, if there was a new sponsor in, that during the duration of the contract, that we would be able to work with the next sponsor. But it wasn't ever an RTE payment, it was Renault, and Renault were always paying the invoice. It was never meant to be RT to pay this, ever.
Yes, but you received it back in terms of the way the deal was constructed, the benefit of that 75,000.
But
Yeah, you've contradicted, by the way, what Dee Forbes has told us in the Public Accounts Committee previously, back over the last few years, that the reason that they had to pay these fees is because the talent, the stars, would walk. But I don't want to divert to that. Deputy Alan Dillon, 10 minutes.